my question actually revolves around the pandemic. We've seen with the pandemic that post the COVID complications, people have dealt with very life-threatening and other situations in their health, and they're still dealing with that. So how do you think, what do you think is nutritional support people should, especially people from lower income families, should adopt in terms of dealing with the after effects of this virus?
You know, food and nutrition, the whole element of livelihood comes from income, accessibility, purchasing power. Unfortunately, over 100 million people lost jobs during the COVID pandemic. There was lockdown and complete, even those people who families making their good ends meet had nothing to turn to. Thanks God, you know, the government public safety net program, like public distribution program, and then the new program the government introduced, like Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, they became a lifeline. And they played a fundamental role. But of course, it's not enough for all of us to eat only rice and wheat. You need vitamin, minerals, protein, a bit of a balanced diet. And those who do not have an income, they don't get this. So that results in the problem of undernutrition, malnutrition, stunting, and all that. And the critical element why nutrition is fundamental is the child's brain development until the age of 2 really requires good nutrition. Otherwise, you lost the really critical time. So it is really fundamental. And also the mother, while she is conceiving, breastfeeding, needs good nutrition. That's why we put a notion of 1,000 days as a fundamental in terms of improving nutrition. And similarly, combination of food plus water, sanitation, and health issues. These are all combination. And I think several organizations, in addition to the government, played a very important role. Civil society organizations, private sectors. But there has been an increasing realization now, I hope, there is still hunger. You know, India had a fantastic journey. I go in India since last 40 years. I was a student of agriculture in India, and I've seen the sip to mouth system which fed the general population. But now, from 50, 60 million tons, India produces 300 million tons. It has 100 million tons of food stock. But that doesn't guarantee the availability of food at the household level because they need the purchasing power. So, in fact, globally, some of the major famine and crisis, which the history tells us, went through, it's not because there was no food, but they didn't have the purchasing power. So, hopefully, with this support program, and now the economy reviving, people are slowly picking up, but there is still the need to support and engage. And there is also another part is behavioral, and that's where I believe the youth communities can really contribute. People are not fully aware what is really needed. They feel basic, you know, rice with a little bit of achar, a little bit of liquidy, a lentil is enough. But that's not enough.
True, sir. I mean, I come from a Punjabi household, and my family believed that milk was the only way to get your calcium supplement in the day. So we were told milk is the way to go, not realizing that milk is not the only way for calcium, right? So I'm intrigued to ask, the World Food Program has been in India since 1963, and now with the Poshan program, the public distribution schemes, the midday meals, there's been a lot of implementation by the government of India to work towards the SDG goals of 2020-2030. So how has the World Food Program worked with the Indian government to achieve the goals of 2030?
Several things here. I think the first, I want to really compliment these program which you just mentioned, the public distribution program, the midday meal program, integrated child development program. Frankly, these are one of the best program in the world. Public distribution covers 800 million people. Integrated Child Development Program covers 100 million. Midday meal program now with the Portion Plus 2, providing hot meal to children in school provides over 100 million. So this is great. But the challenge is what we have is the uniformity, the consistency, and regularity of this program. And that's where we are working as a World Food Program, hand in hand to improve on quality, bring innovation, best practices, global best practices. I'll give you two examples here. The One Nation, One Card system which was introduced, a person from Bihar, if he or she is in Punjab, can access their entitled ration. So that's a fantastic technology. We work to bring those technology. The whole biometric system, so you don't have a paperwork and a fake ID and a lot of leakage, etc. The government is at the top of that. So that's wonderful. The midday meal program, I would say, like, for a hungry child when they are in school, imagine to get that meal. It's really wonderful. So I would like to really encourage entrepreneurs, those philanthropists who want to really join and work on, support this. Because at the end of the day, food is basic human right. And you mentioned about Sustainable Development Goal 2030. In spite of all these programs, the rate with which the malnutrition is going down in India is not keeping the pace to reach the 2030. So that's why we really applaud the initiative which the Honorable Prime Minister introduced, fortification of meals. In fact, there was a bill, the Parliament's approval just a couple of days ago. All supplies under this public distribution program will be fortified. Fantastic steps.
So, sir, my last question to you would be, what does Mr. Bishow Parajuli eat? Or what do you recommend? 5 things you recommend to our audience here, who is probably a young generation looking at Zomato, Swiggy, and everything else they eat. What do you recommend? 5 nutritious things you recommend for us to have in our daily diet, taking into consideration we've all dealt with the pandemic and hopefully we don't have to deal with it again. What do you recommend? 5 food items or 5 things?
Of course, we need calories. You need that. You need protein. You need several vitamin in it. But the best thing to do is I never eat any supplements. So I eat healthy food. I eat small amount of pasta or a small amount of rice. And I always have vegetables. And I have lentils. I eat maybe once or twice meat, but mostly fish. People have different choices, correct? I have seen in schools, some schools serving really healthy, wholesome meal with eggs, etc. But other schools, not so healthy, just boiled rice and those. So, and I would also say mothers and children, of course, milk is fundamental for child. It's calcium, growth, and as well for elderlies as well. You need that. But it's a moderation, as somebody said earlier, but there is a certain minimum requirement we must have, and the notion that at a certain stage for mothers can't eat this, can't eat that, I think that's also social issues and taboos, and that's where we are working a lot on social behavioral changes as well. And that conversation is really important. And the voice of coming from films or actors can be a very important message to bring that changes.
Thank you, sir. So like sir said, you could have pasta as long as it has vegetables in it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you and namaste.